Now, you'll wonder, how is that possible, given that this is near impossible? Well, and I believe this is the first triumph of the Lost Souls after Pizza Party was reworked. It could be the case because may not be the case because someone else may have beaten it and beaten it before the Lost Souls thing was awarded to them. I think the developers fixed it in the meanwhile. Additionally, they may have had the badge previously, like me, for example. If I'd beaten the Lost Souls now after the rework, I wouldn't have gotten the badge to indicate that I beat Lost Souls because I already have the badge from before the Pizza Party rework, so it doesn't matter for me. But I'm surprised that Photon didn't actually have the Lost Souls badge, given that he's a tester, from what I know. So I'm just surprised that he didn't have it. But yes, to beat Lost Souls, you need to Scout, Shotgunner, Commander, and Minigunner. That does limit you on the 4th tower that you can bring. From what he told me, that there's a 5th tower slots, and from what he told me, the 4 other people, so the 4 people for the 5th tower slot, 2 of them use the Engineer, which is fair enough. It's a very good early game tower to deal with the leads, which you'll need to use for the Colbert guards. Also good hidden is the Golden Pyro, which they brung as well. That's for the Ghost. Engineers can slightly deal with hiddens, but ideally you want to use the Golden Pyro. The Engineers can also deal with flyings. Not as well as the Mortar. The Mortar is basically god tier for like the Marionettes because they have 120% defense in the Lost Souls, which is you're not dealing much damage to it with the Golden Minigunner. You're dealing like, if the Golden Minigunner has like 6 damage, you're dealing 2 damage to it per shot. That's barely anything. So yeah, the Mortar, now that explosive towers ignore defense, they are godsends. The Mortar is a godsend, and you need that in this game. Additionally, the Mortar is good against the flying enemies. To be fair, with flying enemies, the Engineer can be useful as well. Golden Pyromancer is useless, but that's not required. The Commander, obviously, you bring for, you know, to speed things up, so to make him fight faster. You don't need the DJ booth because you're going to cheese it anyway. There's no point bringing it, and like all the towers you're bringing are going to be cheap. Engineer, very good cost efficiency wise, and that's what you really need, cost efficiency for the Lost Souls. Because let's be real, you're not beating it on pure power alone. You need to be cheap and efficient. That's why Engineer, Mortar, Golden Pyromancer. Photon mentions on wave 25 he needed to use the flags. I believe that's because of, I think, the Colbert Guard or the minigun. Oh no, that's the shotgun. No, that's the minigunner wave, I think. Sorry, that's the Commander wave. Yes, so for the Commander wave they had to use flags. I assume that would be to use on like the Mortar and everything and the Golden Minigunner. Out of the infantry used there, I'd assume like of the Scout, Minigunner, Commander and the Shotgunner, I assume for DPS wise the Golden Minigunner can be used as well. I assume they're using Golden Minigun and Golden Scout. The Golden Scout not really useful, I can't lie. Maybe early on, but after you place down like the Engineer, I think that has the early game covered. Shotgunner, I'll be honest, probably not that required. Maybe for leads, but I just feel as if the Engineer has that covered. Additionally, because the Engineer's sentries now deal with leads a lot better now because they can detect leads, I feel like that is a lot better now, so you don't need to bring the Shotgunner at all. Photon has the right idea with 2 people with the Engineers to deal with like the Colbert Guards, which have lead. Also the Knights, they also have leads. The Golden Pyromancer also useful to reducing defense, and the Golden Pyromancer is the most effective at reducing defense, although I'm not sure if the Pizza Party enemies, they're glitched, where because they're kind of new enemies, they can't have their defense reduced. I would believe so, but I don't know. Now, for this game, they had to use nukes and mortar monsters. That is basically a requirement. So you can see from this screenshot alone, they brought the nuke, they brought the mortar monster, supply drop, and the UAV. So the UAV, I assume, is to deal with hiddens, because early on, hiddens are a problem with the ghosts and everything. Supply drops, I would say, probably are required as well to get like golden minigunners and stuff, especially with 4 people. We did it with 3 people, and we barely got like golden minigunners to the required level for hidden detection. I assume with 4 people, you definitely need that. Plus the fact that with health scaling, enemies with more health. According to Photon, he used the nuke on wave 35, between wave 36 36 and 39, so I assume he was just skipping a load of the stuff to maximize the usage of the nukes. That's what I suggested to my team, because with the nukes, they're most effective, obviously, with a load of enemies. Just use a nuke and just clear as much as enemies as you can. And then from what Photon said, from wave 26, they started to use the multi-monster. That is the wave of the sock puppets. It is literally impossible to kill the sock puppets due to their defense, so you have to use the multi-monster. It's not effective to use the nuke because of their kind of low health. It's just that their speed means that you have to use the multi-monster. From then on, you have to reuse the multi-monster over again, and when the multi-monster dies. With that, they were able to triumph Lost Souls. Now, they did require 4 nukes and 4 multi-monsters to beat Lost Souls. And from this screenshot, from where the towers are pointing, it did seem like they got pretty far. And as you can see, they actually did use the scouts. They are golden scouts at the start. So at the start, they did use the scouts to deal with the early game. So yeah, pretty cool. That, or they use it as distracting towers. Yeah, they actually probably did use it as distracting towers here for What's the Fox and what are the other enemies? The Knights. Yeah, the Knights can also stun towers. So yeah, they probably used it for the Knights as well. So that does mean Lost Souls is possible. Now, does that mean you should do Lost Souls? I recommend no, you don't do Lost Souls. You know why? Because the developers haven't actually game tested Lost Souls as of its current state. Now, yeah, you can brag for bragging rights. Yeah, you can say I beat Lost Souls when it was more difficult than hardcore mode because you had to abuse consumables. However, right now you're not meant to beat Lost Souls. They haven't tested it at all. I say this as a dogma. I said this as a dogma in my previous video. Well, I either said that as a dogma, or they didn't. They tested it in the pretense that you have to use consumables to beat Lost Souls. It was either one or. I assume they didn't test it at all because they would have to. It doesn't seem like the case that they tested it at all because it just reuses the same thing over from the previous updates, and it just doesn't seem balanced at all. So like, yes, theoretically it's possible. 4 people did get it. However, I'll be 100% honest with you. They didn't anticipate anyone beating it. You should not beat it at all because unless you want to use up a multi-monster and a couple of nukes, bearing in mind the multi-monster is really rare. You cannot get the multi-monster very easily. You can only get it in the holiday crate and the battle pass. I think you can get 9 in the battle pass, and that's on the premium side of things, I think. Yeah, you only get multi-monsters on the premium side of the battle pass. You don't get it on the normal side of the battle pass. So on the premium side, you only get, like, I believe 9. And then in the holiday crates, you only get it's like, for me it's a 1.33% chance because I have VIP plus, but I think the normal chance is lower. Let's see, yeah, 0.83% if you don't have VIP plus. Now, in my time, I've opened, I think, about 20 holiday crates. You know how many multi-monsters I got? 1. Only 1 multi-monster. Unless you want to be a masochist and use up a multi-monster on a game mode, on a challenge that you'll eventually be able to do once the developers rework it, you should not beat Lost Souls unless you want bragging rights. And I document stuff. I don't care about bragging rights. I'll be totally honest with you. I have bragging rights already. I could already brag about being the first person to beat, I don't know, the hidden wave, or not the hidden. Is it the hidden wave? Yeah, it's the hidden wave, isn't it? Yeah. See, that's how much I just forget because I don't really necessarily think about it too much. I don't brag about it. I don't care too much about it. And let's be real, it's not something that I lose sleep over. I don't care if I beat Lost Souls in its current state where it's harder than hardcore. Harder than back to basics when you had to use the nuke because it was impossible to beat because of, like, I don't know, the Necromancer boss or whatever had more health than the towers that can deal damage to. But should you beat Lost Souls? No. Are people going to try and beat Lost Souls with the multi-monster and the nuke? Yes. Can you beat it without the nuke and the multi-monster? Absolutely not. There is no way. You can try, but you're losing sleep over it. There is absolutely no way. Because yes, you can try and beat the sock puppets, but then you have to deal with the voodoo dolls. And if you beat the voodoo dolls, you have to deal with the Reaper. And if you deal with the Reaper, then you have to deal with the Executioner plush. And if you deal with the Executioner plush, you have to deal with Vox the Fox. And let me be honest with you, you're not dealing with all 5 of those threats. Not with the amount of variables you have, given the fact that you can only bring 4 towers between the 4 variable towers. It is not possible. And I think they just should reform Lost Souls into something completely different. Just completely different. Something like similar to Operation Ice, you know, collecting the shards. Because in the badge it says you should gather the lost souls. Like, it should be something similar to like Operation Ice, you know, where you have to like unlock the true form of Vox the Fox. Should be something like that. Like, incorporate the spin wheel, you know, the spin wheel in the back. Maybe that should be a video. Speculate on what Lost Souls Reformed should be.